Oh, hey everybody. This week on Ask Kristen, we can blame our mothers for everything that's wrong with us. Wait, no we can't. So this week's Ask Kristen question is coming from Jesus Kitty Meow. Or should I say, Jesus Kitty Meow. Can you talk about mommy issues? I have a problem getting close to women because I had 3 failed mother figures and find it hard to get used to my father's new girlfriend, even though she seems to be like the perfect woman. Before I get really into mommy issues, I wanted to talk about how fascinating it is, the difference in how we culturally perceive these 2 parental relationships. Ultimately cast criticism on ladies in the situation. Not to make it sound like the world is one giant conspiracy against women. If we look at daddy issues, maladjusted girls who typically have bad behavior and date bad boys all because they didn't have a healthy relationship with their own father, and so they are through all of these unhealthy channels seeking father figure substitute. If you move to mommy issues, a lot more focus has been on mama's boys rather than influence on daughters. Everyone was really worried, especially in the World War II era, about how moms would influence their sons. And there was even this term called momism that developed during this time to denote this idea of moms coddling their sons to the point that they were making them gay. On the one hand, you have the worry that, you know, dad will end up over-sexualizing or hypersexualizing the daughter, whereas the mom will desexualize her son. So from all the research and studies that I've read about parent-child relationships, what jumps out to me as distinguishing daddy issues from mommy issues, I think we are likelier to see mothers developing more codependent relationships with her children, the whole stage mom thing where they live vicariously through their child in order for the child to achieve dreams that the mom herself never felt she was able to achieve. You also see things where the mothers are hypercritical of their daughters in particular. You can have dismissive moms or narcissistic moms who make it all about themselves. Of course, there are also the mommy issues that come from outright abandonment, abuse, and neglect. I don't think there's any gender to how that can manifest. You will figure out your coping mechanisms for that when you're very, very young. And it's so astonishing sometimes how we just instinctually seek out what is familiar, even if we might know in our heads that it's an unhealthy familiarity. At least we have the tool set we cobbled together to be able to work with this kind of thing. Not so great moms, just like not so great dads, come in all sorts of varieties that can breed, I think, all sorts of mommy issues. Dividing things into daddy issues and mommy issues can be a little bit misleading. It doesn't matter what your parents' gender identity or sexual orientation is. Poor caregiving, neglectful caregiving, abusive, that's not caregiving, can just happen. The important thing to remember, if you are the child of a parent like that, is that it's not your fault, nor is it your responsibility to fix that parent. And Jesus Kitty Meow, when it comes to your question, especially about not being able to deal with your father's new girlfriend, even though she seems like a perfect woman, that to me sounds like, yeah, you might have some understandable mommy issues going on there, but also at the core, just trust issues. Getting to know your father's new girlfriend could be a way to not necessarily build trust just with her, but just exercise and like try it out. Practice a little bit of trust. People that we trusted and loved who did us wrong, we assign those negative aspects of those other people onto these new people, and we never give them a chance. But I am curious to hear from all of you whether you have experienced firsthand or just think that mommy issues are distinct from daddy issues. Also, can I get a heck yes to how gross those phrases are? If you're someone who does have so-called mommy issues, are there any tips that you can offer for other folks watching? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks to everybody who watched and commented on last week's week's Ask Cristen video on dating fixer-uppers. Juan Nunez wisely observed, "I think that self-confidence is a huge factor in fixer-upper relationships. Someone might aim to be in a relationship with someone who is a mess because they don't feel like they're capable or worthy of being in a relationship with someone who has their act together." And Dave Freer said, "Just remember, you can't fix someone. The best you can do is help them fix themselves. And if they aren't willing to make the effort, you just end up with a toxic relationship where you will be sucked dry." And as always, friends, if you've got any questions, ask them below so I can give you some answers.